All right, welcome everyone. Welcome to Drakenmemoria. So, for those of you who know what this is, well, welcome back. It's a pleasure to have you back with us. And for those who know where you are right now, but it's the first time that you're with us, well, welcome among us. For those of you who absolutely don't know what this is because you just took, I don't know, the first channel that you saw was broadcasting right now, well, this is Drakenmemoria, and what it is Dungeons and Dragons, and people playing Dungeons and Dragons. So if this is not your thing, well, we're not changing our schedule. So you either change your schedule or you watch. Sorry, life is sort of like that sometimes. As you can see, we're short one player. We're not sure why. She just hasn't answered. But as you all know, well, at least some of you know, she lives in Austria, so she might have fallen asleep and not got up, which would be a bit frustrating, or just like me right now, she's in the middle of a storm. So if the feed ever cuts, because I'm the one hosting, well, you now know why this would happen. If it cuts, I do not know if I'll be back in 5 minutes or not at all during the night. Unfortunately, the storms decides. So, I think that's about everything I could say for the beginning of this. Let's go with the recap. So, for the past few episodes, the party has been doing their best to I don't know if you could hear it through the mic, but we just had a big.
Oh,
We just lost almost everyone.
yes. Nice.
Yeah. Rip.
Oh, all right, everyone's back. Ooh. That's what scary. That was scary. All right, so as I was saying, I don't know why we have one party member that is very small on the screen. Hold on.
I was gonna say, yeah,
It's usually because of a stupid little thing, just one setting that resetted itself. Hold on.
Oh no, the shoddy elves have cast reduce.
just
Alright. Oh, I think that this should do the trick. Oops, too much. And there you go. Now, I think everyone should be back to normal. Well, that was interesting and slightly scary. As I was saying, for the past few episodes, the party has been hunting underground to finish a bounty and then solve a small mystery which came with the bounty. The bounty was to kill an Umber Hulk, which the Garden, the organization for whom all of the players are working right now, wanted to have Umber Hulk scales to make better armor. So they all took the bounty, they went into the mine, and started hunting the Umber Hulk. They found their prey, killed it. Slightly stressful combat, as only 2 members were able to fight during this. Everyone else was just stuck gazing blankly in the dark. But they managed to survive the fight. They were rejoined by Valtteri the Druid, who, well, unfortunately, right now seems to be frustrated because she was trampled during the last session. We'll just say that's the reason why she's not very responsive tonight. But after killing the Umber Hulk, they realized that something was strange because they found evidence that something was healing the Umber Hulk during the fight. So they went out, they talked among themselves, and they decided to go back down there hunting for the cause of this, which led them to discover why the hopes and why most likely the Dishari elf were hunting inside the dwarven mine. A strange material, most likely linked to dragons in some way, but no one is sure for right now. A bit rare, so might be worth something. They decided that they would, if they can, take back a little bit, see if they couldn't improve the reward from the bounty by showing the garden this new material. But before taking any, they decided to keep on going and hunt for the elves, as only one was found and they had evidence that more were hidden in there. So they went on into the dark, trying to find them, trying to hunt them down. They almost managed to catch one, but then they all got stuck inside a darkness spell, where everyone kept walking on one another, tripping on one another, and trying to find a way out. They eventually managed to, but they lost track of their prey. And just as they decided what to do next, Valtteri changed into a very large silver-furred wolf to try and hunt the elf. And this is where the last episode ended. So...
Maybe has a lucky dagger to retrieve.
So, Anvara, audience, Remy, Fisher, and Valtteri. What do you all do?
Well, go ahead. Is the tunnel we're currently in, which I believe was the one on the left?
Yes.
If I can remember, is this the way back to the camp? Or is this some other direction? Or do I have no idea?
No, I believe this was not the way back. The way back was the other one.
Yeah.
Raimi is just going to produce the image of a bloody dagger.
Mm.
All right. Let me see if I can't find the stats for Anvara's current form. I think she took the full moon.
Valtteri's current form.
Yeah, sorry.
Hey, don't argue. I want Beast Form.
It's like the cleric took one level of druid.
Yeah. How many to get Beast Form?
2.
Oh,
Yeah,
two,
that's it.
I guess.
Yeah. All right. So.
I'm going to suggest that we head back actually down the other tunnel, seeing as that's the one that goes back to the camp. Can
I
she
would
turn
agree.
around in here?
No, she.
Well, I think she walked to the front of the group, to
Yeah.
be fair, last session.
Yeah, but the front would be going the wrong way.
We could just lift her and flip
I
her
think we
over.
discussed going back to camp at the end of last session.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think she walked to the front
Mhm.
the right way.
All right.
Although that said, like, if the elf happened to go one direction or the other, like, she wouldn't have to turn around to go down either of those paths if she were following a blood trail.
Yeah. All right. So you all start making your way back to the. Where are my glasses like this? That's better. You all make your way back to the embranchment where you were all stuck in darkness. And as you arrive there, you notice that the darkness spell is gone. So now you can easily see the place where everything was going on, where Remy made a mirror image, not a mirror image, a silent image of a wall to cover the other side. One thing that you do notice is that Valtteri slows down as she arrives at this intersection and start smelling the ground, and she starts following the. You said you were going back to the camp. All right, so she starts following. For you, that would be now the left side, since you're coming back from another direction. Mm-hmm. And as she moves past this little point where the path splits, you do notice that there is a significant amount of blood on the ground. So most likely, whomever you hunted spent a little bit of time here. And she seems to be following the trail of blood going the same way as you're all going. However, after, let's say, again. All right, yeah. So again, Remy, Anvara, and this time Valtteri also, because in wolf form, she has advantage on perception, which means it gives her a small bonus, which allows her to smell this. Maybe after 1 or 2 minutes of walking down that corridor, you start smelling. You think it's something burning.
Oh, fuck.
Noise.
Oh, I know what he did. That's annoying.
So, Anvara, I could barely hear what you said. I heard the first word, and then everything else cut.
Sorry. I was saying, motherfucker cauterizes wound.
Yeah.
So, the smell is coming from where you were going just before. Like I said, Anvara and Remy and Valtteri, all three of you pick up that smell in the stale air of the mine. So
Okay.
for audience and Fisher, at the same time, you see all three of them raise their head and...
Do we realize what he's trying to do?
Well, you smell something burning. You're not sure exactly what is
Okay.
burning. It's most likely not a tall oak tree because you're underground, but something is burning.
Does it get stronger as we walk closer and closer to it?
No, as you make your way further toward the camp, the smell gets fainter.
Okay. Because there were two possibilities.
Do you keep going?
Raimi, real quick. He is like kind of like going back to like where like the smell was still stronger.
All right.
He is going to do a quick investigation to see if like maybe there's a little bit of chicanery that the elves are pulling off.
Can I help? Or also do that?
Well, Anvara and Remy doesn't seem to have said anything, so you saw a reaction,
Oh,
but
I
no one's
guess that's
asking
fair enough.
anything.
Okay.
Well, I mean, if if he's
But,
like
I
stopped
basically,
at a
like-
certain part in the tunnel and looking around for stuff.
Yes. I'll look around like, hey, you smell that? Maybe get him like another chance to check. Yeah. Like maybe roll a perception.
No, he's going to be specifically rolling investigation because if any of these elves are skilled in illusions, like it might be possible that they have hidden a certain pathway that we might not be able to see.
If
otherwise.
I see Raimi looking for stuff, I'll ask him, what are you looking for?
All right. Yeah, if someone says something, then audience and Fisher, I would let you make a perception roll. Remy, if you want to make an investigation, so that would be investigation from what? So what?
Like basically, he'll be going back to like around where the smell seems to be the strongest, just to be sure, and seeing if in that area there might be like a hidden entryway, or perhaps even an entryway has been illusioned to look like normal cave wall or normal mountain wall.
Well, one thing that you do notice as you go back to this place where the road split into two, the smell of something burning doesn't just come back to the strength it was, it goes back to being a little bit stronger than before. And you'd make your investigation roll. See if
Okay. I do like that one. That would be a 22.
All right. How about Fisher? If something was said, like I said, Fisher and audience, you could make a perception roll to see if you notice anything.
I mean, sure.
Perception was 12.
12. All right.
As I thought, nothing. It didn't matter. I found nothing.
All right. So basically, both of you look around, take a good sniff in the air, and you look at Anvara and Remy and said, "It's probably just Anvara, not Anvara, Valtteri in her wolf form."
Oh no, I think
So,
audience.
I don't have lungs.
Well, you can
really
analyze
sniff.
something.
I can smell, but I can't get a good whiff of things.
All right. So with 22, Remy, you do notice one thing: a small, let's call it, a small stream of smoke coming from down the corridor, from where you were all going just before. It seems to just be trailing on top of the tunnel.
I'm just gonna look up, point at it. It's like, hurry up! And he's gonna just like I guess he can't really push past Valtteri because she's taking up the whole cavern. But
Well, it depends. If you want to keep going toward the camp, yeah, you're gonna have to push her. But if you want to just go back to where you were when all of this started, this is not where she is. And since you're in the back, your biggest problem is going under
First.
or between the legs of Fisher and audience.
Mm-hmm.
so to be clear, like the smoke is trailing from.
From where you were when you started the chase. From that direction.
Yeah, so yeah, like Remy is going to definitely like point out the smoke lines, as it were, and like sort of like give that beckon to follow him.
I guess we're turning around again.
Bird knows best.
Well, I imagine that you would probably hear a very guttural growl coming from Valtteri. She tries and push and rise up on her hind legs and try to turn around but all of you can easily just turn around and follow Remy. Since she was the first, now she has become the last of the queue. So follow the bird.
And not the Sesame Street movie.
Well, you're black. Sesame Street. Big Bird is
Also
yellow.
a lot smaller.
Big Bird's like 6'7" or some shit.
Follow that small bird.
Yeah. So, you all follow Remy without hesitation, without... All right.
Yeah, I mean, a little begrudgingly, because I can keep turning around in here, but yeah.
It's the theme of this little intersection. It's not a roundabout, it's a turnaround.
Mm-hmm.
Audience looks a little peeved, but just like he looks like why won't these guys just let us fight them? But
I'll look over my shoulder to audience and just go, everybody always runs. It's so annoying.
now that became kind of creepy. But
It's like, why do they always run?
In all situation, no matter what.
God, that little boy back at that inn. Why did he run away?
Yeah, fucking, I don't know, man. I'm just this big metal construct thing with glowing red eyes. I'm not scary.
And, I'm sure he heard a lot of people boasting about killing everyone around them when they wake up. So,
Yeah,
it's
normal stuff to talk about.
every time audience wakes up surrounded by enemies, it's what he does, no? So, all right. So you keep on going down this corridor, and as you all move forward or backward, depending on your point of view, you all start getting that smell of something burning, and it's definitely not something that gives off a nice, pleasant smell like a nice campfire, but it is something a bit thicker, and especially you, Remy, who has spent a lot of time working with scrolls and different type of papers. I'd say you can make an intelligence roll to see if you recognize that smell.
That's going to be a 15.
15. All right. So for a moment, you feel that and take that in, and you get this image of this one time where someone in the workshop you were made a mistake and a candle fell on the desk, and suddenly all of these scrolls that you'd been working on for the past hours started to burst in flames. It's sort of the smell. It reminds you of that moment, of that odor from that time.
Remy kind of like slows down, stops, and cringes.
All right. So you all see this, well, not so small, but still smaller, bird just recoil for a moment as he takes in the smell of this smoke, and then reluctantly, I would imagine, start walking again.
He just had a bad memory.
Yeah. So it takes a moment, maybe 10 minutes in total, and as you get closer and closer, there's one point where it's starting to smell stronger and stronger, and then the smell slowly starts to fade and the smoke becomes a lot darker. And maybe after, like I said, 10 minutes, you find yourself in a place where the corridor opens up just a little bit into maybe what looks like a 30 feet wide, 30 by 30 feet wide room. And there's a whole bunch of ashes and embers scattered all around the floor of this place. You do see a few desks and chairs, but even then, they seem to have scorch marks.
But the fire is out.
Right now, mostly yes. It's only the thick smoke that comes from a dying fire. So it's mostly embers and ashes. Maybe if in a few places you see that the ember is still very strong and there's still a lot of smoke emanating from it. Maybe at the middle of this there's still a little bit of fire, but there's not a lot left.
Okay.
Well, Remy, you want to see if there's anything worth salvaging? And I'm going to start poking through, see if I can find any, I don't know, scraps of paper, anything that's not ash.
All right. Well, if you start poking through, it's going to be investigation.
All right.
And I don't know why. The idea of a Kenku poking around in ashes and amber sort of gave me an idea of an image of a Kenku phoenix. Ouch!
He rises from the ashes. Roll initiative.
It's a flaming Kenku.
Plus 5, that is a 20.
20. Oh, all right. So anyone else made an a investigation?
Yeah.
Only a 16 for Remy.
All right.
A resonating 3 for
I'm just gonna make a perception because I'm just gonna scan the walls in the room in case there are any like marks or threats or anything. So that'd be more perception than investigation.
All right.
Yeah, I rolled a nat 1 -1, so it's 0. So
Wait,
someone
you
forgot
don't
to
have
light the
minus
torch. Someone forgot to light the torch again, guys. I can't see.
No, I think the smoke got in your eyes. That's what happened.
No, that would be Anvara.
Literally temporarily blinded for a second.
The audience didn't
What?
notice.
No, you have a +0 for perception. Nerd.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I got a 1 instead of a 0. My bad.
that would definitely change something. Instead of naturally going blind for a moment, Fisher and Remy, you can see audience just start looking around, and in his head go right above one of those places where there's still smoke coming out, and he gets smokes in his eyes, and you just see him. What's the
Ugh.
So there was actually a reason why you went blind. It wasn't spontaneous. You know, that's the difference between
I see.
-1 and 0.
instant cataracts.
And Anvara, you're just not that used to the smell of burning scrolls. You know, as a priest, these are usually important. So there's a bit of sadness inside of you, and that's why you just can't find anything.
This poor paper didn't deserve. The Arc of Light takes it too seriously.
She starts crying in the middle of the room. No, the papers! And this is... Oh, maybe I shouldn't say this. So... no, well, I was... I'd rather just say it on the Discord.
Jesus. Okay. Like, I think it's the first time we've had to say something in Discord instead of in the game.
Well, it's just that I've been told that it's very impolite to say this in public.
Fucking
Okay. Okay.
I'm pretty sure a lot of people know what I'm talking about right now, but I prefer staying slightly ambiguous and let you believe whatever you want. So, all right. So, Fisher and Remy. Remy, unfortunately, the memory of this burning paper is a bit overwhelming for you. So you look around, but unfortunately you don't move things very deeply, and you don't find anything that's that interesting. Or unless I'm mistaken and I switched the two character, Fisher, you got the 20 total.
I got the 20.
Fisher got a 20.
Phew, all right. I wasn't mistaken. So, Remy...
Finally rolled good on an ability check.
So, like I said, Remy, for some reason, maybe because of the emotions, maybe because you really learned to hate that smell of paper and burning of it, you are too reluctant to search deeply inside those puddles and bundles of embers and ashes, so you don't find anything. Fisher, because of your 20, and because you are, fairly confident that you are a bit more resistant to first degree burns, you are less hesitant to try and move embers and pieces of whatever that was that's burning, and you actually do manage to find one, not exactly a scroll case, but it does seem to be several scrolls that had been rolled up inside some sort of leather binding. But it's not closed at each end. It's more a very efficient way of walking about with a lot of scrolls, but without it actually having a round shape. Because they're not closed on each end, there's a bit of the sides of whatever was in there that's burned. But just retrieving it rapidly like this and looking at this, you think that there's probably at least a few pages in there that might have survived this.
I'm gonna quickly pull it out and, I guess pinch out whatever embers are left on it, kind of dust it off, and is there much of a table left to put this down on to look at it?
Yeah, like I said, tables and chairs seem to be still intact, but maybe heavily, not exactly intact, but still standing, just heavily scorched.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna brush off the table I can find with a little bit, and then undo the bundle and start looking through the scrolls.
Yeah, I understand that. For some reason, my mouth does the same thing when I try to speak of some specific words.
I'm gonna laugh that these are written in Undercommon.
Yep. Oh no, I'm sure I'm gonna hand these over to you in 2 seconds.
So yeah, you unroll this, and aside from each end, I'd say you think that maybe 80% of whatever was inside is still intact. So it's not bad. The leather binding, the leather, whatever we can call it, scroll case without ends, does seem to have been heavily damaged by the fire, but it's probably what prevented this from all going out. Maybe if you'd arrived a few minutes later, things would have been different. Most of this is, as you would expect, written in Undercommon. You do see a few pages that seem to have been taken from something else, which are written in Dwarvish. And you notice one page in all of this, which seems to be written in Draconic. So there's a total of maybe 7 or 8 pages. So which of these languages do you speak?
None of them. I
Like,
will.
I found something important. It's all gibberish to me, but I think it's important.
Yeah. Who
Look,
here
people,
knows,
there's writing.
like, a fucking useful language?
So
Maybe turn his
Your
head.
audience, get over here. And Raimi, you knew what those other scrolls were talking about, right?
Maybe nods.
Okay, yeah. I'll like separate the into the different languages, the pages,
all right.
so they don't have to
Alright.
sift through all of them.
I will
All
scan
8.
them and see if I recognize any words on any of them.
Well,
I should hope so. They're in 2 languages, you know.
Well, I know Draconic, but
you do know Dwarvish also. I just checked.
and Dwarvish, yes,
So,
just not the Undercommon.
all right. So, audience, one you do not recognize. At least you cannot read, but you have seen a bit of it written. Maybe no, actually, you took a long rest in between. So maybe 8 or 9 hours ago. So you do recognize that those are probably written in an Undercommon. The broken pieces of pages that you can find, those are written in Dwarvish. And they're mostly the different notes taken while they were surveying the mountain. About where they thought mineral were and where they should dig to find it. So it's a heavy read in geology.
I'll probably just scan those, not
The one in Draconic is actually a page literally torn out of a history book. And you can actually, while you're reading this, and this is very unfamiliar, you know a lot about dragon, and of course your lord told you a lot about dragons, but you've also seen him very often. But what is written on those pages talk about a legend that happened easily 3,000 or 4,000 years ago, of a mighty dragon which, after having lived a very long life, flew a long way to the south and decided to make this place his final resting place. And then there's descriptions of this island, with a third of it covered in mountain, a third of it covered in forest, and a thin line in between that is neither. Mostly lakes and rivers. And there is this little moment at the end where it states that the dragon has found a clearing in the middle of the mountains. And minerals which he felt would have a measure of poetry to be the final resting place of this dragon. And then there's this part about the proportion of this dragon, which doesn't make sense in your mind, because the legend states that when the dragon arrived, when his wings were completely opened, the sun would be covered. and an entire valley could be filled by his body. And apparently this dragon laid down to rest, only leaving a small ravine in the mountains where he decided to rest forever, so that others might be able to walk and venture into the mountains. And this is everything you can read.
I will put the scroll into my backpack.
What does it say?
Nothing important.
Fucking wow. I found that for you. What's it say?
I mean, it doesn't. Nothing important to our situation.
I don't believe you.
I'm glad audience isn't just a cunt with Anvara. This is great.
Well, actually, audience, you could make a persuasion roll because you didn't say a lie. It wasn't anything relevant to your situation. That's not a lie.
Okay, I'll make a
It's
persuasion.
relevant.
Eh?
We're looking for the fucking Dragonite
to our
shit.
Well, no, that's not our current situation, unfortunately.
That's what I said.
16.
16. Fisher, you look at him
I have to roll an
and...
insight check.
Well, yeah, sure. Go ahead.
That's not gonna work.
I was going to say
this will-
something,
maybe this
but
will be the
yeah,
session
sure.
where-
Maybe this will help make this more precise. Go ahead, make an insight check.
Yeah, no, that was a 0.
A 0. You look at audience, and you are convinced he believes he's telling the truth.
Fine, whatever. Fucking
You know, but you also...
probably just not smart enough to understand it, and then I'll spin around to Raimi. I'll ask, what's the dwarvish then?
That's what I was going to say. You do know audience well enough to know that he might actually have something important, but he just didn't realize it. This is why you believe he thinks he's telling the truth.
The dwarvish was just stating good places to dig, but like it's not really relevant to our situation. Since we already found, I think we got further than the dark elves anyway on finding the Dragonite.
Or we got farther than the dwarves. Currently. Okay, yeah, whatever. Raimi, what's in the other ones?
Alright, so Remy, what can you read? You're going through these pages, and mostly what they say is... Oh, actually... This is something I often do just to... Because I have 2 dice, one blue, one black. Choose what color.
We'll go with black, because Raimi is black.
All right. Because I've rolled each of them, and each of them has a value on it. And this is the value that I take for this. So, you look at the scroll, and you see, you can read a lot of different things. The Shari elves found what they wanted. They found the ore. That is obvious from the beginning of the page. You have the feeling that it's a letter that had been written, but they didn't have time to send. And from what hasn't been burned, you can read that they found what they wanted. From the letter, they're still extracting what they wanted. So they weren't supposed to be done right now. You keep on reading, and the place where it describes where they were digging has unfortunately been burned. So you don't know where exactly they were digging. You find a reference to someone ordering them to do this. But oddly enough, nowhere does it mention anything which would suggest a matron. You keep on reading, and you realize that they're following the orders of someone that is religious, because there is a reference to our Lord, the Almighty One, and this one word, which, because of the burn pattern, most of the time you can't figure out to what it relates, but there's this word that keep appearing everywhere. Unshaped. And finally, at the end, it says that they were able to force the dwarves into digging there by making them believe that the one who gave them this information was a benevolent patron somewhere in a village. And they're hoping that they can get enough of the mineral before anyone realizes this, because they're bound to discover this. The dwarves aren't the brightest, but given enough time, even them will eventually figure it out. That's about what you can get from what is left of these 1 or 2 pages.
Raimi, kind of looking at it, looks to the others, and he'll start by illusioning a Shari elf, and he'll say, "The babe isn't sucking from the mother's teat."
That is so fucking abstract for the rest of us.
I rolled another nat 1 on intelligence, so that is actually a 0.
All right, let's see this.
So, audience, the only thing that you focused on was the mother's tits. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so this is intelligence.
Fair enough.
I'd say yes.
All right, well that's a 13. So man, the DC must be stupid high for that kind of information.
That's an 18.
18. All right. Well,
So
Fisher, I'd say you sort of, Anvara, you sort of get the relationship between an
Mother.
infant sucking milk from the mother. But exactly how does it relate to this situation?
Like, is one of the elves like a newborn or some shit? Like that's. Like, what?
Fisher, because you had a slightly bigger role, you think about this, and a child not drinking from the mother. He didn't say that it wasn't drinking. It just said that it wasn't drinking from the mother. And you have heard that dark elf, the Shari elves, have a matriarchal.
okay.
Sorry. So sorry I couldn't pronounce it clearly. It's easier in French, always. Matriarchal society. Yay!
Okay. Just to double check here, Raimi, because I'm starting to. You're not. This is a metaphor, right?
Amy nods.
For whoever's here isn't getting something from the matriarch?
Remy is kind of like does that.
Ramey's gonna get an all surfing nut just not understanding.
Isn't working with the matriarch?
Points at him.
Okay. Yeah, that one was... Dude, you gotta get better at that, man.
Amy just looks down at the ground and just starts... In fact, starts sitting on it and, like, hugging his legs.
Oh, dude, okay. Yeah, here, buddy.
You basically just told a kangaroo that you're not trying hard enough.
Oh,
Try
come on.
try words. Spell things out.
That's the problem. Oh god. Then would he at least be aware of the rough translation for the undercommon word for unshaped? Because I know that he would have difficulty explaining that one.
Well, I mean, if he can read a language, he knows how to write in it, right?
But
Yeah,
the problem is he
Kanku's
only knows
thing
how to
is-
write what he's seen.
A Kenku can understand anything that he can read in language. The problem is that the capability to build a phrase, to imagine and to build what a phrase is, has been taken away from them. So if he's seen the word in a book, he could be able to take that word, but he can't build a phrase using all the words that he's seen. He has to have seen that exact phrase somewhere.
Okay, I thought it was just stuck to talking.
That's literally why he speaks to you guys a lot in metaphors that only thieves might talk about, or like, or some shit
Well,
like that.
I figured it was just a talking thing, not a writing.
Oh no,
It's all aspects.
it's literally inside of them. The punishment that this species had was their flight taken away from them and their creativity. This is why he can't build a phrase, but he can't show you a phrase that he has seen somewhere else.
Okay.
So Remy, the concept of unshaped, although you can understand it, would be excessively difficult for you to express it. Because you're trying to express a concept that cannot be expressed with image.
Alright, so at the very least, Raimi is going to... Okay, the next, like... He's going to get... This is going to probably be the most clear you're ever going to get. It's like Raimi is going to get down on his knees, and he's going to put his hands together as if in prayer.
I'd say, Anvara, if you want to make an intelligence roll with this, you'd have advantage because you've seen this action so many times in your life.
That's not.
I think you're muted.
Sorry, my audio was down, but I was talking to someone in chat. Sorry.
Okay. Oh, cool. There's someone in chat. Hi.
Yeah,
Is
it's my other DM.
Oh.
Is
hi, anyway.
Raimi looking at us expectantly while he's doing this, or does it just look like he's praying?
Okay, so like he'll repeat himself like, the babe isn't drinking from the mother's teat, and then he's going to get down on his knees and again, like, make that prayer motion.
Okay.
All right. So, praying to a mother. Like, that's the first connection I'll make. Like, oh, are you saying they're not... Oh, fuck, wait, I just saw...
Wait, no.
you.
I'll say,
No?
no, keep going.
Okay. I saw you go like this for a second. I was like, oh, wait, shit.
No, because like you were like looking like you were about to say something. It's like wait, no, hold on, wait till he finishes.
All right. So prayers, the Shari mother not receiving. So I'm guessing they're not. Oh, they. Oh shit! I'm so sorry. My int is a 10. I can only see what I know is real.
Well,
And so Raimi is going to minor illusion a giant spider with an X. And then make the spider disappear and then return to the prayer motion.
So I need to make a history check, or
Please.
would that be religion?
In that case,
Because I don't know if is it even a thing in this world. The Spider Queen god, whatever it is that Dark Elves I think possibly worship.
Can I roll to be told? Because I'm too dumb to figure this out.
You can roll to see if your character believes they have found something. Yes.
All right, so that's religion.
I'd say you can either do religion or history, but you have to tell me which one you're doing because it's not going to be the same clues.
Religion. He did praying hands, so religion would make no sense. +2, that is a 20.
20, all right. So, from the words that you kept repeating, I'd say that Anvara would have made the connection between these words in a moment of clarity. Mother, praying, not taking anything from mother.
Giant fucking spider, then no giant fucking spider.
Well, just from the words that you said, I'd say Anvara could have picked up that they're not following the usual deities for this. So this doesn't have to. This isn't something related to the race.
Okay. Are we hunting heretics, Raby?
It's like thinks on it for a moment. It's just like this looks like. Does this count as heresy? Yeah, it kind of does.
Dashari heretics.
Oh, you know.
And then
Doc.
Potato, tomato.
Fucking.
And then Raimi is going to probably. Actually, yeah, he's going to explicitly pull out a quill and he's going to underline like the specific uncommon word, undercommon word, like for the undercommon word for unshaped, and then minor illusion a dwarf, and then makes a talking motion with his hand.
Okay, I get it.
This is so fucking meta. I can't even. My God.
Okay, so
No, the thing is, like, I'm trying my best to not make this meta.
No,
before we unpack that, if we're can I go back through everything and look for any of the symbols that look even vaguely like the wolf circle?
Oh, there's not enough. There's not a lot left. That was the best you could find.
But there weren't any in those papers.
No.
Like, now that I'm specific. Okay.
No.
I'm just thinking, if they're heretics, they're following some new god. It's just, we've kind of been dealing with a new god for a bit here.
Yeah, just so like Raimi would have gone on to just like really underline that word, point to the word, point to the image of the dwarf that he made, and then continues making the chat motion with his hand, like the talky talk.
Of course, the elves are now worshipping dwarven gods.
We're going to go through this slowly. So this word...
Because
something about dwarves talking.
Because he underlines it, you can recognize that this word appears several times in the text. You just don't know what it is.
Maybe
Does it mean dwarvish in Undercommon? Because that's what dwarves speak.
He will switch to the voice of the dwarf that talked before. It's like, don't worry, we have a few people that can speak Undercommon. We can get this sorted out.
Yeah, no. There we go. That would probably be easier.
Holy shit.
Yeah, you see, the thing is, Rami, we are hours from any dwarves currently. How long do we want to spend down here? Because, like, we could go back, find a dwarf that could translate this, and then come back down here, which in total will take a fucking long time. That's a very specific measurement of time. Or we could keep it and just keep going, see what else we find.
Points to him and says, like, we've got a rat to chase.
Exactly. Like, they already burned all this stuff. If we go back and come back again, we're never... I mean, they're going to be long gone.
Now, is this just like an open room, like with the one entrance, the one that we came through, or are there diverging paths as well?
Sorry?
I was asking if the room that we came into, does it diverge into other paths, or is it just the one entryway that we came through?
No, this room is at the end of one path.
Okay.
The cavern network, the tunnels networks is still very big. You still have to make a few rolls if you want to be sure not to lose yourself in it. But so far, and with a huge wolf beside you, you're almost sure to be able to get out of this. But just making your way back to where there are dwarves, you don't know how long it could take. It's still a small maze.
I was just asking because, like, it's like, hey, the elves had to escape from somewhere, so if they just making sure, like, minimizing the number of paths they could have taken.
Usually, what happens is these corridors, the way they're made, they're 5 feet wide, 8 feet long, and they usually go in a single direction for several minutes. And then you get the feeling that they will cross with another tunnel that was made at another point. So you usually either have these intersection in the shape of a T or a Y, or in the shape of a cross. But it's usually a few minutes between each of these. And you get the feeling that they sort of were made intentionally like this, so that if someone would start to investigate them, it would be harder for them to find whomever is hiding in there. Especially since if they started doing this, they would have to be doing this with Umber Hulk chasing them, who has actually made these tunnels and know them by heart.
So reluctantly, Rami's gonna kind of like point at Valtteri and minor illusion Ashariel.
Yeah. So you turn to Valtteri and you look at her just gnawing on the edge of a desk, growling a bit. So
Hides behind audience.
she looks at you and as much as a wolf can sigh anyway. So she really enters this room, turns around and starts sniffing the ground again and tries and figure out where to go. So Valtteri leaves this small room and tries to go anywhere else. Do you want to follow her? Is there anything else you'd like to do before she leaves?
I will follow.
All right.
I'll bundle all the papers back up.
All right. Yes.
Well, since there's like ash everywhere, can we like see any footprints that were there that aren't ours? And if so, how many of them are different?
Well, that would be covered in investigation.
Okay.
So your investigation really wasn't that good, but Fisher's investigation was. I'd say Fisher. You'd have noticed that there weren't that many people who entered this room. From the size of the room, from how many desks there are, you'd say it was most likely 2 or 3 persons that would usually be inside this room. Not more than that.
Okay.
All right. So you go back out and you start following Valtteri. Valtteri would follow the trail of blood. Or the scent going back to the trail of blood. Because once she reaches the trail of blood, she starts following the trail of blood.
Suddenly gets excited.
Yeah, something to eat. Part of a joke from earlier in the campaign. So she keeps on following this, and it doesn't take very long for the trail of blood to stop. And Remy, you find your knife.
This is like, but then realizes what that means. Aw.
So
Maybe his scent is still on.
oh, she definitely is having. She's not encountering a lot of difficulty following the elf. But from what you can gather, Remy, this is probably something that would be more for you and your personal ego. Because of the tunnel that keeps on going in this direction and that you keep on going, and because of the trail of blood that you were actually able to see, because Valtteri underlined it while she was looking, you get the feeling that you're good at looking for things, but he was better at hiding. You most likely were within a few feet of one another, but you just missed him.
His feathers kind of like immediately floof. It's like.
So you keep on going back into this corridor, and it leads literally directly back to the room where you all slept for the night. And as you enter this room, a bit more room to move. You look around and you notice that some of the blankets on the beds have been taken. It really feels like you're in a abandoned bunker of some sort. for audience, you've seen what a hunting party that has to leave in a hurry does, and this looks a bit like you missed all the action.
Yeah. Audience will look sad.
Sam looks sad.
They look the same right now. Alright, so as you get into this room and you realize that they really managed to give you the slip. They even most likely took a few blankets for themselves before leaving this area. And from the traces of this, you get the feeling that they're basically half an hour ahead of you, but they know where they were going. So it's probably going to be hard finding them if you still want to hunt them. But if you want to hunt them, Valtteri does give you the direction where you would have to go, and it is from where you started when you entered this to sleep in there. The exit completely on the other side of this room.
So the direction the dwarves were being held.
No, actually the dwarves
Or the direction...
When you came back after you got the dwarves back to the to the corridors, you went back in and you didn't know how you managed this, but you found your way inside this room through another direction. Well, you get the feeling that she is pointing into that direction as to where they all went.
We've got a rat to chase.
Okay. Sure. Please lead on. Gary. Fucking keep going in circles.
All right. She takes a good
But if we
whiff.
come back to this room on accident one more time, we're leaving.
Come back, the beds are gone.
Well, actually, she takes a good whiff and she goes inside the inside all of these corridors again, and I'm really not kidding. After 10 minutes, this is the roll that she made.
Is that a 3 or a 1?
That's a 1.
That's the one.
Okay.
She rolled
Great.
2 once.
Yep.
Well, the other one was actually a 3, so not any better.
Okay.
We're not gonna find these elves.
Nope.
So after 10 or 15 minutes, you find your way back inside this room.
Yep. Okay. We're getting
All
out of
right.
here. Fuck this.
And oddly enough, this time when you get inside there, you are on the entrance to the right of the room. You don't know how you managed this, but you come full circle.
Nice.
Awesome.
Audience looks defeated.
Yeah.
I am defeated.
Okay. Yep. No. I'm not doing this anymore. Y'all good to just head back. Fucking, I don't know, audience, if you want to mine some of that stuff before we leave.
We should for the garden. We said we
I
would.
mean, we've got Raimi's got a small chunk.
Remy pulls it out with a happy look on his face and stares at it.
It's a chunk maybe the size of a grapefruit. So for Remy, it's quite big, but for audience, it's small.
I'll look at Fish. I'll be like, yeah, I'm not sure Remy's gonna give that up. We might need more.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
We'll report to the dwarves too. Said we couldn't find the elves, but said we've most likely stopped their operation, and I don't think they're going to be back.
Or I don't know. At least be on the lookout for a bit, probably. But
Yeah.
Also, just tell them all to like, just like any strange dwarf they come across, just kind of like move their hands over their like a few feet over their body, just in case.
so
Well, that doesn't work.
force him to drink some. Yeah. He straight up was a dwarf
Yeah.
when we found him.
Maybe our only thing I could say is maybe the dark elf will have more information when we get back up, but
Yeah.
So they haven't died from alcoholism or from excuse me, from intoxication.
Yeah.
I
Maybe.
doubt it.
Drunken intoxication.
Let's pack it in, men.
All right. So, well, it takes a bit of time, and you don't actually find your way back to the corridors, but Valtari does manage to fall on one of the patrol inside the corridors, inside all this maze of tunnel. So,
And amazingly, was not attacked on sight.
well, you do have the impression that she surprised them. But then again, they're expecting either a Umber Hulk or the Shari Elves. And it's a creature that doesn't usually live inside the caverns. And they rolled a 17. So they didn't panic.
Plus, we're the
the
people
rare
that had the
underground.
fucking tree earlier.
Yeah, but you don't have the
you
tree
know.
right now.
Yeah.
You
but-
just have twigs.
Rare mountain wolf.
We traded up.
Yeah, not a stretch to have fucking weird stuff with us.
So these dwarves actually do manage to get you back inside the main hallway. And from your experience, you know that if you go, well, from your direction, it would be if you go right, you're going to go into the mine. If you go left, you're going to go back out of the mine. So, audience, if you want to mine, you know which direction to take.
Yep, I will take that direction.
All right. I'd say to judge, how long are you planning on mining?
I'm planning on just getting, not like a ridiculous amount.
All right. So, I don't know, maybe something like the equivalent of a crate? You have a cart inside the village, so just a bag full, a crate, a
what do we
cart
have
full?
with? Not a cart full. I would probably. How much would audience take? Because he wouldn't actually want to just. He'd probably take two chunks. He'd probably take 2 chunks. One for himself and one for the garden.
All right.
So 2 sizable chunks, probably a little bit larger than Raimi's, each.
Okay. Make an athletic check.
Oh baby, get that +6.
Finally.
What is? I've rolled 3 nat ones in a row today. I don't,
Well,
God
it's
forbid
okay.
you had
So you
a
have
plus
7.
6 charisma and persuasion.
yeah. I don't know what's happening with my dice today.
Do you want the divine smite, the rock?
No, I just think that I've never mined before, and I'm probably not doing it well. I'm probably swinging it like I would swing a sword.
You know, you've never used a pickaxe before, but you're looking at this and it looks like an axe. Oh, I'm gonna swing at this the same way that Fisher does with enemies. Yeah. So it takes a bit of time to get something that you're satisfied with. You keep swinging at this wall where there is these large chunks, but I don't know, it's either you're swinging too hard or you're just not good enough to know how this works, but you keep breaking off these small pebble-sized shards until after maybe 30 minutes of going at this as hard as you can and with frustration building up, you finally manage to hack 2 pieces, maybe the size of watermelons.
Okay.
And probably the equivalent of half a mining cart full of pebble-size pieces of rocks and metal.
Raimi would have
Walter?
loved to have. Raimi would have loved to have helped, but he just liked seeing audience work.
So
Well,
while
I'll turn to everyone else. I'll be like, well, if anyone wants any of that, they're welcome to it. And I'll put the...
I'll scoop up all the little metal chunks that I can.
all right, so I believe you actually had bags on you.
Yeah. And yeah, I should.
So what should I put in for is there anything in equipment I can put, or should I just make a note of it that I now have Dragonite? Whatever.
Oh no, you can just write it. Just make a note of it, and
Okay,
you can write it Dragonite, and I'll know what it is. But if you actually want it written the way it's supposed to be,
Yeah, it's not called Dragonite. It's called starts with an M, right?
Harkonite.
Yeah, but
Oh,
Raimi's the only one who knows
Harkonite.
this word, but in a different language.
why does it correcting me like this?
Or no, excuse me. He's read it, but he's never heard it.
I'll just write what audience would know, because then otherwise I'll pronounce it wrong later when I forget about it.
So
I'll just tell. And I like the word dragon of it anyway. It would fit well with audience. I want to write 2 chunks of Dragonite.
Well, when I made the word, I did take into consideration that they say that the Dragonborn language is a very harsh one, hard to pronounce. So, the Harkonite.
Oh, I got that 100% wrong.
That's why I wrote it. In the...
Lads, I'll tell you a tale.
Alright.
That's what I wrote down.
All right.
I wrote down Dragonite because that's what audience knows
Well, yeah, I wrote down.
as of the moment.
Dragonite is the common diminutive of what it is, because it comes from dragon and it's a metal, so humans call it Dragonite. So,
Well,
Yo te elijo.
yes, I should say, well, we should probably go back and report to the dwarves.
all right. So you go back up after. So Fisher, you manage easily to fill one of your bags full
Okay.
of these chunks of rocks and metal. It is, since they haven't been smelted actually, so it's you take those that you feel like have the biggest concentration of them, but they're pebble size. You know, the largest one you can find is actually maybe the size of a tangerine. Everything else is the size of large raisins or prunes.
Oh, you can smelt it all together. I got proficiency in Smith's tools. I know how this shit works.
You make it as some
Here you
high
go.
level full plate arm.
Yeah, just give me fucking like 2 years or whatever that it takes to make that.
It's just a few weeks. Come on.
We're not in the Dark Ages.
According to,
And even the Dark Ages
isn't
to get
it
that.
like
I
a
think.
day to make 5 gold worth? So
Well-
fucking whatever, 1,800 divided by 5.
Yeah, all right. If you go with Dungeons and Dragon logic, I was going with real life logic. So sorry, my mistake.
Then you
No, I
have
mean,
to
if it
add
only
the
takes a
added
few
cost
weeks,
of the more
yeah, dude,
expensive
let's go.
material, so that's probably going to raise the price up to around 3,000, and then we have
No,
And there's a shipping and handling fee.
taxes.
Yeah, you know, even the garden has taxes. So,
Also, you have to renew your membership with the Smiths Guild, and
Two things you can't escape in life: death and taxes. Even D&D.
yes, and
Yeah,
breathing.
if you're not careful, you got OSHA fees and shit, so be careful.
So Fisher, I'd say just for me, roll a intelligence check with advantage because you you have smithing tools, and I believe you are proficient in them. So
Yep.
you actually can look at this and see, oh well, this chunk would have most likely a higher concentration than this one. So it's see just how much of it is rock and how much of it is metal.
So that advantage was nice.
Okay.
Because instead of a 6, that's going to be a 24.
Yes, it
Significantly
is significantly better. All right, so you using your knowledge, and for a moment there's a bit of confusion because you're not used to seeing metal shine underground, but you easily manage to shake it off. And all right, well, I recognize this. It looks a bit like copper, so let's go. You just put everything you can in your bag, and you have a bag full of the Harkanite, which actually weighs roughly the same thing as a bag full of copper and rock. So it's a bit heavy, but fortunately you won't have that far to go with.
I can jangle even more.
Well, the difference is audience walks and you hear shling, 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 shling as Fisher rocks, and you hear
and maybe it's just cringing in every single step.
So you
This
may
goes against all rogue instincts.
well, and to be fair, right now, because Valtteri is I don't know where, you're the only one who isn't making sound when he's moving. Everyone else has heavy armor.
Like I said, going against every rogue instinct he has. Walking with the noise.
Yes. You know, there's a logic to it. If you're in the middle of the noise, no one hears you. Everyone hears. They hear everyone else. So, halfling logic from the Lord of the Ring. So you easily make your way back up and inside this large hallway where this large hall where all the dwarves are. Most of them have gone back to working. You do see maybe one or two in the corner who are still tending to the Deshari elves. And they seem to be having fun. Checking that the elf is still alive, and then dunking his head again inside the alcohol.
Oh my god, we've been gone for like 12 hours. We've been doing this the whole time.
Alcohol and dwarves, they don't get tired easily. But like I said, it's only...
Fuck.
While before it was everyone in this hall that was around the elf, now there are only 2 or 3 of them. And they don't seem to care whether he can say something because he looks unconscious, but they duck his head in, they take him out, they take the pulse, they look at each other satisfied, and then they dunk him again.
Alright, I think I would have a problem with that. That's
This is definitely like not even talking lawful. This is just not good anymore.
too much. Alright, audience would probably walk up, kind of actually take... Can I physically try and take the elf from them? Are they going to resist me?
Well, it depends on what you do when you arrive. If you just arrive and yank the elves out of their hands, maybe. But if you arrive and talk to them first, and make them feel like you're not there to attack them, you don't know.
Well, I mean, I assume they know who we are at this point, like somewhat at least.
All right, so you arrive toward them, and you make sure that they see you before you do anything.
Oh yeah, no,
All
they
right.
see me, but then I'm gonna basically just walk up and just
All right.
take the elf from them. Do they resist?
Oh, okay. No.
No.
As you approach, you see them, and they just candidly look at you, and they wave at you as you come by, and dunk the head of the elf inside the barrel. Keep waving. Then someone taps on the shoulder. Oh, take the head of the elf out again.
Is it the same guy?
Take the pulse. No, it's 3 different ones.
Okay, I was about to say.
No, it's not the same one that I've been doing this for 12 hours. I
I
think.
imagine they've
basi-
been doing ships.
So
Just like
basically,
the
I'm
game.
just gonna grab the elf by the scruff of the neck and just be like, "All right, I think you guys, I think you've had your fun. That's enough of that."
Aw. Can we have him back later?
No, I think he's had enough.
Aw.
Want to keep this one breathing.
Oh, he's breathing. Don't worry about it. Look! And he places a piece of metal under his nose. See? Condensation. He's breathing.
I'll just kind of give them a nod, kind of hoist the elf under my arm, and kind of walk away, looking a little bit annoyed and disappointed.
Well,
I'm
Anvara, Raimi, and Fisher, as Audion does this, you look at the dwarves, and they sort of look like a child that you just took their favorite toys away from them. So just go.
look hard
I'm
enough. There's
gonna-
probably another one.
I'm gonna kind of step forward a little bit and just go. Who here can read Undercommon?
One of the 3 says I can.
And I'll walk up to him, pull out the scrolls, and what's this talk about? We found it deep in the tunnels in the remnants of a burned study.
Oh. Well, that explains the burn part. Alright, well, it says they've been looking, they found, didn't find all that they wanted, but they're close to having everything they wanted. There's a lot of mention about a lord and master and
Maybe we'll go out of his way to point to the underlined word.
yeah, what about this word?
What's it mean?
Unshaped. Audience, make an intelligence. Are you close enough to hear this?
I probably would be. I didn't walk that far away. I just kind of.
Make an intelligence roll.
Oh, good. Let's go for my 4th nat 1 in a row, boys. No, we're doing better. We got a 0 behind the 1, so that's gonna be a 9.
All right.
It's not great, but
Unshaped. You feel like you've heard that before. Oh well.
Great.
Maybe finally has a way to say this word,
it's just not been a good day for me.
so it said it out loud.
Unshaped. Yeah.
Spoken once. Screw these dice.
Yeah. They mention it a
Okay.
lot, but I can't make out what it relates to because all of these burn marks, they're really. But yeah, the word comes out a lot. That's about it. Getting the feeling that they weren't working for the normal matriarch. You know, their spider thing.
Rami nods.
And just for reference, the Spider Queen herself isn't worshipped in the Shattered Continent. She's barely known as a god from a very, very, very long time ago. But the idea of the spider has remained, and there are other spider gods which have been used and seen as most likely successors of this god or something like that. So the idea of the spider remained, but the goddess herself, for some reason, hasn't. But for you, it's normal. It's always been like that. It's an obscure reference that leads from almost all the way back to the shattering itself. It hasn't been used in so long. But yeah, it's
Hunter appear anywhere in there?
No, nothing about. Well, they do say that they were hunting dwarves for labor, but
That's not what I'm looking for. All right. Thanks.
No problem.
Yeah, I think we're going to be heading out. I'd say it seems like most of the elves have dipped by now, but keep a lookout and have fun with that Dragonite stuff.
Oh, most likely. Brems with our healers right now. You guys did a very good job putting him back on his feet, but he hasn't been fed properly for quite a few days. Should be back up very soon, but for us, it's sort of a big deal. It's a bit of a rare material, so not a lot of people actually will buy this, but it's usually very sought after by adventurers and nobles. Nobles for the aesthetic aspect of it, and adventurers because they can usually make something stronger out of it. So, yeah, you can bet we're probably gonna be able to make quite a bit of money from this.
We might know some people that may be looking for more.
Oh, well.
So.
Sure. Just tell them that you're the one who have been sent. We'll welcome them. Especially if they won't buy some and just not watch it. Yeah. Who should we expect?
Somebody from the garden. I don't know who they're gonna send. Who knows? Maybe we'll come back. We'll see.
Oh shit, we already know the way.
Well, actually, I'd allow anyone who wishes to make an intelligence roll.
Why not?
Let's
just
go.
doesn't. I've given up. We're getting slowly better. I'm up to an 11.
Yeah, you did better than me.
Correct. 12.
17.
17.
9.
And 4 for Valtteri. Who has by this time taken back her normal form. She's no longer walking as a horse-size silver wolf. So Remy, you do remember when he says, "Who should we expect?" that the garden did say that you could leave one of your orbs to someone as long as you warned the garden that it was done on purpose. If you want to keep communication with someone who might be interesting.
Remy is going to dig into his bag, pull out an orb, and he's going to point at it.
For the rest of you, you do recognize the orb that you have all been given to communicate with the...
I mean,
Someone
yeah,
can
we
help
could...
him explain.
Is it... What color is it?
Right now, it seems to be shifting between green and yellow.
I guess, yeah, not a bad idea. Were you thinking we'd call the garden now?
I mean, we can say, yeah, we're on our way back, and we have.
I'll take out my
everything.
orb and speed dial 1.
As usual, you hear the voice of Syrah. Yes. What can I do for you?
So we've got some of the Dragonite stuff, special metal that we found.
Dragonite.
We were going to start heading back. There is a whole lot more here that the dwarves are going to start mining. So, if you guys want more.
Well, I don't know. I'm not familiar with the term Dragonite.
I pull out one of the chunks and show it to her.
Okay. Well, looks like a shiny material. Most likely magical.
Oh, and it absorbs magic. I shot it with some magic and it just poof.
Oh, well, that's very interesting. Yes, sure.
Does Remy remember the text that he read of Harkonite to be able to at least minor illusion the word on the page?
I'd say you could probably... I'd say, yeah, you could make a minor illusion enlarged version of the scroll that said the Harkonite.
Maybe lower res.
So yeah, I'd say you would be able to make a bigger version of something that you've seen before.
He's just gonna kind of say, it's like, different name, same shit. And he's going to try to minor illusion that word in front of the orb.
Oh, okay, hold on. Yeah, it's a bit hard to make, but I think I got what it's... I think I got the word. Oh, actually, wow! Do you want me to roll with advantage or disadvantage? It's the same thing. I got 2 20s. So she looks at it. Oh, yes, yes. Oh, which one it is? Which one is it? There's usually 5 different kinds.
We've been digging at the earth for long enough.
Do we know it's copper?
I would probably. I'll say copper. I would know it's copper.
All right.
Because I know.
Yeah, yes. Hold on. Let me see. Give me a moment. And you're being put on hold. You wait for...
Is there any music?
Do we get music? Yeah.
Your call is very important to us. Maybe starts reciting.
Medieval version of Living on a Prayer or some shit playing.
So you hear the soft sound of a harp playing in the background for maybe 1 minute. And after that, you hear the voice of a most likely a dwarf. Yeah. So, I've just been told that you found remains of dragons. That's very interesting. Sure, I'd be very interested in having this. Although copper isn't the best one to make weapons and armor, but I'm sure our magical friends will most likely enjoy this. Bring as much as you can. I'll buy this.
Ramey's going to point at his own orb and kind of like give like a like a motion of like dropping it down.
Oh, I guess, yeah, do you want us to leave one of these
Oh!
with these guys?
Oh, well, if you think they're open to commerce, yeah, sure. I'd, wouldn't mind having more. Because honestly, if you just bring a few with you, we'll probably be able to make something out of it. But, if we actually have a place where we can buy it, pretty sure it's, would be appreciated.
Yeah. Well, hold on a second. I'll turn to the dwarf next to me. How much of this stuff do you guys currently have?
Well, we've just started to take out the vein. Maybe we're nearing maybe 1 ton total. Usually
Oh, shit, you guys work fast.
They're dwarves.
It's, yeah, that makes sense.
You know, if you go at it with just a pickaxe, it's gonna take you weeks, but we have more than that to dig this out.
Okay.
Ramey is going to walk over to him, hand him his own orb, and then minor illusion Bram.
Okay. So I'd say he either means this is his or this is going to be his.
He's. I'm assuming he's saying you should take this to Bram because he's y'all's like foreman, right? He could,
Yeah,
be the one to
as soon as
set
he's
up a
back
deal
on
like
his
this.
feet, he's probably going to be down there mining himself.
But so yeah, so you'll be able to use this to talk to this guy who didn't give me his name.
So you're asking the name of the one on the other side of the orb or the
Yeah.
one next to you?
The one on the other side of the orb.
Okay, hold on.
It's like if
Right.
anyone's going to give up his orb,
So-
might as well be the one that can barely speak.
So the dwarves on the dwarf on the other side of the orb. Oh, just dial. That's gonna be sufficient. I'm pretty sure you're not gonna be able to pronounce the second half of my name. So
Ramey will take all bets because he can replicate anything.
but
Like
how
bet
do you
100
say
gold,
this?
somebody can.
I'll just go, you know what, here, and hand my orb to the dwarf and be like, if you guys want to talk logistics for a second before we leave.
Oh, all
I
right.
mean, we don't And I'll look over to audience. I don't have a ton of money on me currently to just, I don't know, depending on how much you want for however much of that stuff we can load on a cart. Taking it back now versus
buying it. Well, how about this? You help us get the Umber Hulk out. You rooted out an infestation of the Shari elves, and you brought Bram back to us. Consider it a gift.
Sounds good. And then I will show him how to use the orb.
All right. So, takes 1 or 2 minutes, but you have to tell him twice, but he gets it.
Uh-huh.
All right. Probably I'll be able to use this, I'm pretty sure. So like this, just slide your finger here and tap here, and it opens, right? It works the way he said it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, sure. I'll hand it to Bram, and apparently we're gonna become business partners. So maybe we'll see you again very soon.
Sounds good. So, should we pull our cart up here?
Oh, it depends. Where's your cart?
It's down in the village. The inn.
Well, yeah. If you don't want to carry this yourself, yeah, sure. Just leave it here, and a few dwarves will carry it to the cart as soon as you get it here. Otherwise, you can just leave the mine with it. It's all right.
Okay, cool. How much are we taking?
It's a bit hard to tell because you don't know the exact value of this rare mineral. But if it were copper, you'd say you'd be taking maybe something around 125 gold worth of the metal. Because it's in its raw form.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Unprocessed.
Yeah, I'm just more thinking like volume wise.
To
walk down to where the cart is with it versus having to bring the cart up.
All right. Well, it's a large bag. It's probably gonna be a bit hard to carry this around. But I don't know. Maybe. Roughly the size of a full backpack.
Okay.
Right.
Just if you took like one of those backpacking backpacks and stuffed it with metal and rocks.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So you'll take this and you just go to the cart. You don't bring the cart back here. Is that it?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Guys, input.
Yeah. No,
All right.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everyone thanks. Yes.
Remy's not lifting it, so.
Remy's lifting one, so he's gonna his. Whenever someone approaches, he growls like a dog.
He can literally growl like a dog if he wants to.
Oh, when I said that, I assumed
He's super unsettling. A bird growling at you.
Oh, actually, I have a story about that I'm going to tell you during the break because we're going to take our break right now. Feels like a good moment. Everyone's been thanked. You are leaving the inn. You're going back to the. You're leaving.
I do have to figure out what I'm doing with this elf because I am right now dragging in a unconscious Ashari elf with me, but we can figure that out after
I'd
the
also
break.
Yeah.
I would also like to remind everybody that right now it should be the middle of the night, based on how much time we have
Yeah,
spent underground.
roughly, it's about midnight.
All right.
All right.
Yep.
All right.
All right.
So,
Well, see you guys after the break.
in 10 minutes, most likely. Bye.
Yeah.
Aha, welcome back, everyone. As you can see, our fifth player still hasn't returned, so let's just hope nothing bad happened to her. She is accident prone. Alright, so, audience, let's start with you.
Yes.
What do you do with the Shore elf that you had in your grasp?
Well, it's a good question because I don't really feel comfortable leaving them with the dwarves, but I don't really know what to do with him. So I guess I will just drag him along behind me until someone says something.
Well, you would hear one dwarf as you are leaving say, "But I didn't get a turn."
I'll ignore the comment.
So, Andara and Fisher, do you stop audience from dragging the dark elf away?
I mean, we can't let this guy go free. And
Well, it was actually the plan of the dwarf because it was humiliating.
yeah, well, you can't really just release it knowing it's been fucking around. And like, do you want if we leave in like in any type of holding cell with the dwarves, he's just gonna get fucking waterboarded as soon as we leave. So
Why can't we just dump him somewhere and have him find his way home? After we talk to him, obviously.
I mean, he's a fairly
Straighten some
dangerous
things out.
individual. I don't know if I'd feel completely comfortable just letting him loose.
I mean, hands bound would probably be a okay compromise.
That's
Hands bound, I cast blind on him the time we leave.
Just letting
That's
him out into
fucking-
the wilderness. Like,
Yeah,
there you
just-
go, hands
like
back.
what? Yeah, I mean, what? Okay, logically, our options here are leave him with the dwarves, let him go, or kill him.
Did you say this out loud?
Yes.
When you say leave him with the
We
dwarf,
could
you hear
take him-
one
we
J.
could take him-
Yeah, yeah.
You could take him with us and just keep him bound. And then the garden probably is some kind of holding cell. We could stick him in. Maybe they could get some information from him eventually.
They don't seem like. I mean, this doesn't really seem like their kind of thing.
I agree, but I don't know.
They're
if
a.
it's an option.
I mean, like the dwarves know what's coming now. There will be ready if these guys try something else again. So I mean,
How about we
David?
make it a future problem for us and just take him with us for now, since we don't have. Sometimes an option will present itself that we can't think of at the moment.
I'll fucking dial up the garden again.
Wait, didn't you leave your orb with the?
No, that was Raimi's orb.
Oh, that was Raimi's, right?
He only handed it briefly so that they could talk.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Well, again, this is Zero. What can I do for you?
She hates us.
Yeah. Sorry to bother you again.
Well,
Do you guys?
You certainly call a lot for civilians, but you've never been in a war, so don't worry, you're not among the worst of them.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. Do you guys have like holding cells?
Why?
Yeah. See, that's what I thought. We got this Dashari here that was behind the Umber Hulk attacks and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, and audience here didn't want to leave him to continually be drowned in alcohol by the dwarves.
That
And he
is
doesn't want to let him go.
understandable.
And I'm assuming he doesn't want to just kill him. I'll look over to audience for affirmation.
Audience will shrug, but also kind of give it. Audience will give it nod.
Okay, yeah. So he thought you guys might have somewhere that, I don't know, we could put him. Yeah, I don't know where his train of thought was going here.
Well, well, this is an interesting dilemma. I guess we're gonna have to face this also. Well, of course we can accommodate this, but I'm not sure it's a really good idea to get someone not involved in all of this inside of the garden. Hold on a moment. She puts you on hold. Ding, doo, 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 doo.
See, audience, I told you, like, fucking...
I just said it was our future proof. I didn't say we need to bring it back to the gardens. Maybe a town on the way would have a holding cell we could like dump him in.
And then what?
Then he wouldn't be our problem anymore.
Jesus. Okay.
Blind. I mean, might as well just dump him with the dwarves.
No, I mean, we could find a place where he wouldn't necessarily be tortured.
There are two.
How well are Dashari elves treated?
I don't
Generally,
know.
by the
I'm
general
from a Dragonborn town. I
population.
don't know much about.
Are we still going with classic Dro rules?
Yeah, are they like?
Well, actually, they're treated a bit as the unwelcome guest, but most people don't see them as a global threat because there aren't that many of them.
Mm-hmm. All right. Also, I mean, what would? I don't know what you think. So, like, you think we're just gonna drop him off, and like, why would they hold him? You'd say, what? He was behind a plot to screw with some dwarves up in the mountain.
We wouldn't have to say that. We could just say
why
he's
would
a
they?
criminal.
Is that just he's a criminal? Like,
Yeah.
what would they charge him with?
They don't have to charge him with anything. They just have to stick him in a cell.
For how long? A couple days? Do you?
I don't know.
What do
That's
you
up to
think
them.
happens after someone gets arrested?
Listen, I don't have a good answer right now, which is why I'm saying it could be a future problem for us.
That's
That's what we're trying to avoid, friendo.
no. Deal with problems now so they don't become future problems.
Amy is going
Okay.
to minor illusion Bram's visage again.
Yeah,
Audience
I
starts
don't-
still stubborn. Listen, we're not going to leave him with the dwarves, so it doesn't matter. We have to take him somewhere.
Want to take him to the back of the shed and old yeller him? Like, can we like find something to do?
I mean, I'm turned over. I mean, wait, do you want him to leave him here to be tortured? Does that fit with?
He's not. I mean, he's done.
What do
They're
you mean?
gonna. I mean, look, he's fucking passed out.
There were
He's gonna wake
literally
up with a
dwarves
weak
saying
head.
they hadn't had their turn yet. What do you mean he's done?
Yeah, okay, maybe like a couple more. So maybe he gets dunked for like another hour, and then they kick him
Not
down
really.
into the
Someone's
tunnels
here
to
be
found.
tortured, whether for it's an hour a day.
There's something wrong with this situation in more than one level.
Like, can we give him
Why
like
don't
an
we
honorable
just
death?
kick him into the tunnels and have him just skip the rest of the torture and finish with the rest of the dwarves' plan? I mean, they're the ones that he wronged, and their plan was.
Okay, if you specifically remember their plan, they wanted to release him because they thought that he was working for a matron. They thought it'd be funny to send him back to his matron in that condition. We now know he's not working for a matron. There's really, we still don't even completely know these guys' motives. That's just not intelligent to release a dangerous criminal who obviously is great at deception and concealment back into, the tunnels.
I figured
Especially
the
when
point
Everyone
we're
is
was-
able
speechless.
to apprehend the other drow.
Everyone is speechless. Audience has never been this articulated before.
Well, I feel like the point was just because he's not currently working for a matron doesn't mean that there isn't one, like,
I thought
that
the
he would
skulls-
return to.
I mean, they're obviously working for a separate party, and we don't know what that separate party is. That's not someone you want to just release.
I mean, if we're so obstinate about it, just give him like an honorable death. Just fight him to the death. Like, there you go, problem solved.
Maybe he just pulls out a dagger. Still covered in drow blood. Or, sorry, blood.
It's just like, you know what?
I
I'm
mean-
not talking to you guys about this anymore, and just turns to walk away.
He just keeps on
Dragging
dragging the elf.
You're still holding him.
Fucking Jesus.
You hear the weeps of you hear a few weeping sighs from a dwarf as audience slowly leaves the hall of the mine.
Can I turn to look at him?
He has
Do I
those
see-
puppy eyes.
I see a crying dwarf.
You
I
see a
will-
puppy-eyed dwarf.
I'm going to keep this in my memory and just like I will remember this sight forever. The day a dwarf cried in front of an elf. Let's go.
Maybe he's going to like call back to them. There'll be more where that came from.
It doesn't seem to help the dwarf much. He seemed to be genuinely sad.
I almost feel bad, but I feel even worse. I'm struggling not to call him a drow. He said the Shari dunked until he dies. Because one of them gets like too carried away with it and just like, look how deep I can make it go into the barrel.
Oh, by the way, we were still on hold with the orbs. I don't know if they were ever
Yeah.
going to get back.
Christ,
I
I
walked
hope
Hear
you
him
were
pop
away.
back halfway through that conversation.
Exactly. You take the orb back and you hear the voice of Illithane says,
Oh,
"Well,
huh.
it feels like you found your answer. So, do you still need help?"
Seeing his audience just walked off with the dude, I'm gonna go with no. We did not find our answer. So possibly, what did you have in mind?
It really depends on how much they know about us. We're bound to have attracted a bit of attention. I do remember a few coins being sent to the Shari elves, but only one showed up. course, if he was brought back here, we'd have the problem that we wouldn't know what to do with him. No matter what happens, he cannot go back on his own, even if he tries. Not because we don't want to let him go, just because unless we permit it, he can't leave. But the question would come back, how long do we hold him?
See, that's what I was trying to get through. I don't think audience thinks that far ahead. But,
Long enough for him to teach me Undercommon?
So if you're really that deep into trouble, yes, we could take him. But you'd have to get him back here on your own. This would be interfering a bit more than we've been allowed to if we used our own resources to get him here.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I guess we'll be coming back with the Drakenite and the Umber Hulk stuff, and we'll let you know if we've still got him when we get there.
All right. Yes, this sounds like a good compromise. It's been a while, but I'll see if we can't reopen the Briggs. All right. Good travel, and I don't know how well versed into rare metal your world is, but be careful about walking with material this rare. See you soon.
We'll cover it. Something. We'll be back in a couple days.
Very well. We'll be waiting.
Beat.
All right. All right. So you find yourself dragging a bag of ore and an unconscious Dashari elf.
Well, I'm gone. If they stopped during that conversation, because I didn't stop walking.
You're gone. You're like 200, like 100 feet away, dude.
By God, I mean, I'm not. I kept walking.
He's already halfway to the inn, you know.
Let me just add hold person to my list real quick.
You're a minute down the road.
Yeah, I'm a minute down the road, basically.
All right. So you all go back to the inn where you left the cart?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's fairly
I'll
late.
toss the ore on the cart.
Audience's gonna go lock himself in his room with the Dashari elf.
Excuse me.
And you're going to sleep with him in the room?
Tie him up.
Okay.
I got rope.
All right. So
Maybe just has this disappointed look on his face as you go into your room with the Dashari elf.
I mean, I don't know if you guys see, you guys might see me walk. I literally go right up to my room, and I basically, like, you guys can deal with the cart yourselves or whatever, getting the ore, and I basically, like, go up to my room, and I stick the Dashari elf in my room, and I lock the door.
So I'd say, Remy, it's most likely a mix of envy and disappointment. Didn't know Remy was into bondage. So
Of course he is.
I'm an annoyed 15-year-old right now. I'm...
How old do you think Raimi is?
Well, to be fair, Dragonborn, yes, you are 15 years old,
20.
but
More like an annoyed 20-year-old.
yeah, because
A little older, but still.
well, it's a bit weird with Dragonborn because yes, you are 15, but a Dragonborn leaves childhood after 3.
Yeah.
So you've basically been a teenager for 12 years. So you're basically the equivalent of 20, 21 for a human.
Yeah. Not quite a teen, but
Just on the last year of leaving the teens, you know.
After I drop off the ore in the cart, is there like anybody still inside the inn,
Well,
like
this
downstairs?
This is what I was going to say. So, audience, you have to wait a little bit because you're waking the innkeeper up in the middle of the night. So it takes a few moments before the innkeeper.
I mean, do we still not have our rooms?
Well, you do, but the inn is closed.
Well, no, actually, you rented a space for the cart. You didn't rent in a space for you.
Would audience have thought about that, or would I have just got up to the room that I was in before?
I am
Because I
going to
didn't
the
think of
shelter.
it as
What he's saying is
I think the
front
idea is that
door
you
is
wouldn't have even been able to get through the door. You would
Is
have had
the
to
front
Very
door
literally
well.
locked,
break
or
in
is the
to
front?
get back
Well,
in.
that's my question. Is the inn locked, or is it not locked?
Well, in the middle of the night, yes, it's going to be locked.
Okay. Audience would probably walk up to it, go to open the door, because he's annoyed and not really thinking it would be locked, and then very annoyed, he'd probably pound on it.
All right, so Anvara leaves the group to find shelter with the
See ya.
at the shrine. Audience starts pounding on the door. It doesn't take too long, a few minutes, for someone to come down, and you get the innkeeper slightly groggy. Yes. Oh, yeah. The party who rented the space for the cart.
I'm just gonna toss him 2 silver as he's trying to talk and just be like, a room, and then just kind of go to walk by him.
Oh, yes. Hold on, 2 silver. That gives you. All right. Well, you. All right. Just go up the stairs and here, and he goes to the desk and takes a key and you just follow the number on it.
Thank you.
Is this supposed to be for 1 or 2 bed? And he looks at the Shari elf you're dragging.
I'll just mutter, doesn't matter. Cute.
Right. Sure, why not? And then he looks at you, Remy, who's probably not far
Staring
behind.
as audience leaves. It's like,
He looks at you. He looks at you and says, "You adventurers, you. Well. Can't argue with taste, huh?" And he looks at you, right at you, when he says that. Remy, can't argue with taste, huh? All right.
if a Kenku could blush.
What about you? Do you want a room?
Also hands him 2 silver,
Oh, he just
or
left.
whatever the room cost was. It's been a minute.
too silver.
I don't remember.
You give him 2 silver and says, "Well, it's just because I didn't have time to give him his change, but it's just 1 silver."
So okay, it was just like minor illusions a key.
Oh yes, sure. Here you go. And takes the key and gives it to you.
And was a tip for dragging an unconscious prisoner into his inn. What?
Fair enough.
You're trying to get your fucking throat slit while you sleep, my guy.
Yeah.
All right, audience. I'm going to say
A lesson in trying to be too good of a person.
You mean lawful good? What my character is?
No, actually, I was gonna say I'm trying to figure out what role I'm gonna have you make to tie someone well.
Athletics?
without considering the
You
rogue
wish.
that you kind of just left behind.
I mean, athletics if you want to hang it from the fucking ceiling, but
I don't know. I'm almost tempted in saying animal handling, but you know, he's
Feel like
tying an animal up. It's the closest
sleight of
thing we
hand.
have.
Sleight of hand is probably the
Yeah.
better option in this case.
Checks. I don't know.
Or just a straight.
A straight, oh boy.
I mean, it's the same for me, dex sleight of hand, so it could be either one. It's +3 for me either way.
Actually, sleight of hand is +3 for you.
Yeah, I'm saying so
Um,
they're both +3. It's the
Yeah, I'm gonna go with dexterity just to say that you have to
same. Okay.
immobilize him properly.
I will say I would spend more time. I wouldn't just like.
Oh,
I
I
wouldn't
know.
like. This would be something I would spend more time on to like actually make sure the knots were like. I
Alright,
would
well,
check the knots and
Then
stuff.
roll with advantage.
Okay.
anyway, so this is gonna wake up with like the most.
I got a 10 with advantage. Still working on rolling below.
You got
All
a
my-
10 with advantage.
Yeah.
The rogue just kind of walks by your doorway into his own room.
Teams falling on the floorboards.
As he moves past your room, you hear the claws of a Kenku drag in the corridor.
I'm not opening my door. I'm pissed and I'm annoyed.
All right.
And I rolled a 10, and that's what I rolled.
Very well.
Although I know something that will cheer Raimi up once he gets to his room, but I'll wait for others to say what they're doing.
All right. So,
However,
yes.
I would probably time up. What I do? Do I have anything? I don't think I necessarily have anything. I would probably keep my weapons next to me while I slept.
All right.
Would be one thing. And then yeah, I would probably just trust in my knots if I actually so I'd probably trust in my knots, but I would sleep with my weapons next to me. But I would sleep. I definitely would not sleep.
All right. Sleep as in really go to bed and put a cover over you, or just
No, I'd
Sit.
probably only sleep for. I'd actually probably, since I took the like 9-hour sleep earlier, I'd probably only sleep for about like I'd probably take like a longer nap just so I like kind of had some refreshment, so like 2 to 3 hours.
okay.
Well, no, because when probably. I'd probably, so what's it now, like 1 o'clock? Because it took us another hour to get back.
Something like that.
May as well take the full 6 of that.
I mean, I don't think I would, though. I would probably just go for an early, so 5, so probably like 4 hours. I'd probably sleep for like 4 hours.
Okay.
Because I'd already slept. And
So what I was wondering is, do you really go into the bed, or do you just do the falling asleep, sitting up on with your shoulder resting on the wall on your bed?
no, I'd go to bed
All right.
for the 4 or 5 hours.
All right. Fisher and Remy?
I'm just staying by the cart because now we've got a bunch of shiny metal in it instead of just. How bad does it smell right now?
Well, you did spend part of the night removing all of the meat inside, but you didn't sanitize it, so it's not a very powerful bad smell, but it's still not pleasant. It feels like, even if you wash the carcass of a lobster really well, but you put it in the trash and leave it outside, next morning it's still gonna smell. It's just not gonna smell enough that the neighbor can smell it. It's that kind of smell.
Yep. If the elf was out here, I could watch him too.
Nope. She's in my room, tied up
It's mine.
kind of securely.
It's mine.
We'll go with kind of.
Yeah, no, I'm just staying by the cart.
All right. So you're
Doing
going
my
to
sentry rest.
Sentry rest. All right, Remy.
All right, so Raimi, once he has gotten into his room and secured it, he's going to pull out his goodies from earlier.
All right.
It's like he pulls out the lockbox, pulls out the dagger he obtained, and as well as the gem that he swiped as well. As far as the gem that he picked up, did it look like any more or less valued compared to like the gems in his bag, or
It's bigger. Probably a bit worth a bit more. It's better cut. It's a bit bigger. It's a bit hard to tell without having anything to analyze this on a deeper level to see if there's magic or not in it. But it certainly would fit the size of a gem used for magic purpose. But there's no rune on it. But like I said, it's a bit bigger than the normal gems that you found, and the cut is a little bit better.
oh yeah, he definitely likes this gem.
Right?
He's going to look over to the dagger. Are there any like notable features about this dagger, or
Actually, make a investigation roll.
moon healing investigation? So that'll be a 16.
16. All right. So you look the dagger over, and most of it looks just like a very dwarven dagger, a little bit bigger than the usual dagger, but while you're evaluating it, you do notice on one side there are runes carved inside the blade, and they do look a bit like the runes that you've spent most of your life copying. Although you do not know if they actually do something, or if they're there just for decoration.
Would he be able to do an arcana to figure out what those runes might refer to? Or like what would be the intended purpose of
Sure.
runes if they were engraved on it?
Sure.
Like, come on, Raimi, I believe in you. That'll be a soft 20.
Okay. Yeah, you look at this, and there's something a bit familiar with the runes that you see. It does, the way that they're made, the way that they're placed, it does feel like an enchantment of some sort. And it's really difficult to say, because it's a very old form of runic language, so you're really not familiar with it. But there is a little bit of a concept that you can grasp from looking at this. Something about hunting. About hunting on its own.
This may require scholarly research later. Like, he will still likes the dagger, so he'll put it away for now. And finally, he's going to get to the lockbox.
All right.
The thing he doesn't know what's inside. I'm assuming it is locked.
Yes, it is. Roll
So
to see if you can unlock it.
Although, you know what? remembering the shit that was happening when he opened the first lockbox. Gonna take a few steps back and to the side, and then mage hand thieves' tools.
All right.
Like, sounds like exactly the kind of bullshit that an elf might do.
Whoa, excuse me.
You're not there.
I'm here in spirit.
Is 16 enough to open it?
Yes. And it's really just enough. You fiddle with it, and you said you take a few steps back, so I assume this means you use your mage hand to...
Yeah, I explicitly said he's using his mage hand.
All right, so you took a few steps back, and you maneuver the end, and then you hear this, and then you see around the box, and it fades immediately after. And you can still feel a bit of warmth coming from whatever that was. But the lock looks like it's open.
I have concerns, and I'll find out in a second, but Raimi is now going to open the box.
You open the box, and inside you find a piece of paper and a piece of cloth. On the piece of paper, you see writings. And you don't recognize the language. It's a rough language. But it has elegance to it. It's strange. The piece of cloth, audience, if you have memory, you're gonna feel like something very familiar. You take the piece of cloth, and you notice that it is well folded. It takes almost the entire depth of the box. Do you unfold it?
Yeah, he'll unfold it.
Oh, I know what it is. I do have memory.
You start unfolding it, and at one point you start seeing an image that comes out of it, but it literally, because you're Kenku, it hurts to look at this. Your mind is racing to the point of having a bad headache trying to understand this. You unfold it completely and look at it, and there's a strange shape on it, but every time you try and focus on the shape, you feel the idea of the shape forming, and it goes away. It just keeps shifting and shifting again, and because of your Kenku nature, you can't even form whatever that is in your mind. It boggles your intellect, and I'm actually going to ask you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Oh, yay.
Our party has found one of these before.
Well, with a natural 20, I don't think that's going to be much of an issue.
No, you manage to resist it just enough that your mind manages to reach down inside your memory and form a series of images. The first image is of you when you were very young and forced to work on something. You're having trouble focusing on the image itself, but you know that it was for something coming. Then the image shears off, and you find yourself later on in life with your friend. You're in an alley, and you're walking with him. And it was... You recognize this moment from your history. It's just after you two started to become friends. You find yourself walking in an alley, and the alley gets cut off on both sides. And there are people coming in, and you hear your very dear friend, your cat friend, looks at you and says, "Run. I don't think I can protect you for this." But you didn't. It was the first time in your life that you took a weapon to defend someone, possibly at the cost of your own life. And then the image shears off again, and you find yourself in the room. You feel sick. You feel a little bit of blood coming down your nose. And you have this one word that echoes in your mind as you try to give a word to the image that keeps changing on the cloth. Unshaped. You feel this urge that comes from your guts telling you this shouldn't be. This cannot be. What do you do?
As in the thing in front of him shouldn't be.
The piece of cloth itself with the image that you just cannot give a name to.
Yeah, seeing that this thing is like now physically hurting him at this point, he's going to try closing it and see if that changes anything.
The pain that it caused you diminishes as your eyes stop seeing the image, but the urge remains. There is something inside of you that has awakened that is telling you this should not be. The feeling, you can't shake it. The pain diminishes.
He is going to... He's going to take a dagger and try to cut the cloth.
Make another wisdom saving throw.
Well, an 18?
Alright. You use your dagger and you start carving inside the cloth, and you keep on swinging it, and it feels right. It's just not one stab, one cut. You keep going another one. It feels better. It feels better. And you slowly, the symbols that your mind can't identify slowly seems to be losing its grip and being unrecognizable. But you have this feeling that nothing should actually cause you this much relief for that simple of an act. But it doesn't feel wrong in any way. Do you keep going until the image is unrecognizable, even to your struggling mind, or do you stop there?
He is going to continue because he's feeling better by doing this.
All right. So you keep on going until the piece of cloth is little more than sheer frayed pieces of scattered cloth on the floor and stuck inside your feathers because a bit of the shearing just... And you can even feel that you're breathing better now that it's been destroyed.
Just kind of like collapses on the bed, trying to get his thoughts back together.
All right. So your thought eventually comes back together, and there, because of the nature of this, you do feel that as a Kenku, you might have been more ill-equipped than others, just because the image itself seemed to always be changing and be unlike anything you have ever been able to grasp. You know the limitation of a Kenku, so you know that this might have probably affected you more than someone else. But throughout the rest of the night, whatever you do not feel like you have done the wrong thing. You are unsure if you did the right thing, but you definitely feel like you didn't do the wrong thing.
Like, he does make sure to hold on to the slip of paper, hoping that he might eventually be able to encounter a means to understand it.
All right. And you drift to sleep, tired from
like,
this
very stressful experience. Yes.
All right, so you fall
Poor
asleep. You fall asleep. Audience. You're in the room. You feel confident in front of this elf who's been sausaged in front of you. And you're not completely sure you want to fall asleep, but then again, you're sure of what you did. So you eventually just look at him, and eventually sleep takes you a bit over because you've been walking and exerting yourself, so you're a bit tired. And as your head is bobbing and you're looking at him, at one point your head bobs and comes back up, and you look around and you're outside. And it's completely dark. You can't see a single thing, but you're standing up. And your attention is drawn straight in front of you as you see a bit of light appearing in the horizon. And there's just enough that you realize that, oh, on the right, in front of you, but slightly on the right, there are a few more lights. They look like the lights of houses and hovels, and then you recognize this place. It's your own village. You're standing on the hills just in front of them, just in front of it, maybe 5 minutes away. And you see this globe of light rising slowly. And you look at it and you sort of think about it and said, oh, feels like the sun is rising. You even see light coming from everywhere around as the globe slowly rises up, and feels good to see this radiant light. You even close your eyes and take a deep breath, and you even feel the warmth of it, and you see the more and more lights appearing on your home village. And a little bit of warmth from inside of you. You even feel like the sun is looking at you, pleased. Then you look again up, and it's starting to be fairly high in the sky, and you notice this halo forming around the sun. As the halo becomes brighter, the sun slowly starts to become darker and darker, and the halo becomes brighter and brighter and brighter. It's starting to become blinding, and suddenly it separates just slightly a bit. It starts to separate itself from what you felt was the sun before. But the more it separates, the more you see a blinding light. You can't watch it. It's so bright, so powerful. You look away because your eyes just can't take it anymore. But you feel this warmth everywhere around you. In the beginning, it's a bit frightening, but then you adjust to it and it feels inviting. Is it the sun has actually gone up? You're unsure at this moment. What do you do?
What do I do? I can't. I assume it's still really. So I can't look at it still. But it's.
You're unsure. You closed your eyes because it was too bright, but you feel the warmth around, and.
And I feel that it's inviting.
Yes.
I mean, I would probably, if I feel it's inviting, I probably wouldn't resist it. So, yeah, no, I wouldn't resist it.
Right.
I have no reason to resist it. So, no. I'd probably try and go into it then if it's inviting.
So you make a few steps forward, and it really feels like the morning sun. Do you open your eyes?
Feels like the morning sun. Well, it had blinded me before. But do I still feel like this harsh light on my? Because when you're closed your eyelids, do I still feel like a harsh light on it, or do I feel more of an inviting warmth?
It feels like you might be adjusting a little bit. It was blinding, but it feels like just if someone had blinded you with a light spell right after coming out of the dark. So
I will open my eyes then.
You try to open your eyes, and you have to push a bit at the beginning of it, but yes, your eyes is adjusting to it, and though you can't really look directly at it, you move forward and you see it completely separating itself from the other globe, and you see them drifting apart, one to the right toward your village and the other one toward the mountains that you've always seen from your village. But now those mountains, they look like the mountains you just came out of. And as your eyes slowly adjust and you can almost look directly at it, you look in front, and standing above your town, above your home village, you see this globe that you have always thought was the sun, but now in contrast, it feels like a moon, pale, a shadow of what is right next to it, which feels like the sun.
Oh, okay.
The warmth feels benevolent.
I would head towards the benevolent warmth.
You make one step and you wake up in your bed. I'm sure you can still feel a bit the sun on you, the warmth of it. And in front of you, there's empty ropes. But you're alive.
Oh,
Unfortunate. Well, guys, I told you it was our future problem. The problem would deal with itself, and I was right.
you could convince the group you beat him last night or some shit.
Everybody wakes up the next morning and Raimi doesn't come out of his room. You go inside and
wait,
there's a stream of blood and feathers.
I guess I would probably. Or are we ending there? I don't know. What are we
It
doing?
depends on your question. I was about to, but depends on your question.
I mean, it's fine. I mean, so nothing's wrong with me though.
Absolutely
I'm just like,
not.
okay, nothing's. It's just he's gone.
It,
But nothing's.
it really doesn't feel like the two are related. It's just that you wake up, you open your eyes, and he was sausage just in front of you, but now he's not. But you still have all the feelings from your dreams, and it's very vivid, still in your mind. And it even puts everything in contrast. You sort of look at the ropes and say, oh. But then the warmth that you felt during the dream just...
Well, I guess I will think about what I do next for next week then.
All right. Well, that is all I have for tonight. So we're going to end this here. Thank you to everyone who has watched the episode. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll keep you informed about our missing party member. Just take a look at the Twitter, and if she doesn't come back, we'll let you know through this. Otherwise, it was a pleasure to have you with us. And if you like the show, as always, you can support the stream by following us on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. And also, remember that if we reach 50 followers on Twitch, I will be able to activate the subscription aspect of this. And I will most likely also come up with a rebroadcast schedule. So you'll have a second chance of watching this with your friends. So let's try to get this 50 followers. If you're not already following, would be nice. You can also support the stream by making a donation or becoming a Patreon, or as always, spreading the words about the channel. So, thank you for watching. See you all next Wednesday, and especially in those times, stay safe and healthy. Goodbye.
Bye.
Good night.